There's an amazing story about Rav Aaron Leib Steinman. He was perhaps one of the leading rabbis of the world until he passed away a few years ago. And he lived well into his 90s. And during that time, his doctor noticed that he wouldn't eat in the morning. And as you can imagine, from a medical perspective, breakfast is an important meal, especially for someone in their 90s. And they were urging him, to eat. And he said he couldn't eat in the morning. And they said, well, why can't you eat? He said, well, in the morning, God gets a lot of joy in the morning because there's so many Jewish children who are going to study, going to school, going to study Judaism, going to study Torah. And he has tremendous joy as they're making their way to school. And then it's beautiful. But he also has tremendous sorrow because there are so many more Jewish children who are not studying Judaism. They're not learning about who they are and why they're here. And so God's in pain. How could I eat when God's in pain? And I thought that this was an incredible story for a couple of reasons. First of all, that, wow, we always talk about trying to be sensitive to other people. Imagine being sensitive to God, like thinking along those lines, like, that I should adjust my day based on how God might be feeling, is really a tremendous level of sensitivity and spirituality. But perhaps even more powerful in terms of a message from the story is that God really cares about us and really values studying Judaism, studying Torah, and connecting. And it's really, I don't think it's tragedies. I think it's an understatement to say tragedy that most Jewish kids today, they study at very sophisticated levels in terms of the secular knowledge, whether it's science or math or business or computers, college level, masters, PhDs, while in terms of their Jewish studies and their Jewish knowledge, for many, their educational level is still at a first grade, perhaps even lower educational level. So the fact, of course, that you guys are here studying and making time for it is an amazing, amazing thing. And I have no doubt that that's adding to God's joy in heaven. But obviously, for those who are ready for the next level and would like to come join us here in the Holy Land, you see the view behind me. The Kotel is waiting, we're waiting, and we'd be happy to help anyone if they'd like to get here to work out the finances and make sure that you could be in the Holy Land and connect to Torah at its source. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week.